Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Dallas has some takes on the ocean that I think you want to get to. What's up with the ocean, Dallas?
The ocean is absolutely bananas, man. It's bananas. We spend how many hours in a day, how many days in a week, weeks in a month, months in a year do we think about what's going on above us, right? We got a lot of stuff going on the East Coast these days with drones.
Yeah, what's up with the drones?
Or not there's what's that?
You got some takes on the drones or what?
I mean, if you've been following what's going on with the drones and understanding what the drones are here for, I think initially you're probably have some of your fears maybe reduced, but then immediately raised again because you're like, well, that's great that we have the ability to do this, but hold on, shit, does that mean that we're getting closer to? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the idea is that the drones are here to be able to detect nuclear radiation, nuclear fallout. So if there's any sort of weapon of mass destruction that has been dropped on us, dropped near us, or being able to Trojan horse its way into our defense systems, these drones would be able to pick up the emittance of radioactive rays, nuclear rays. That's why we can't detect them on our radar systems, is because they have X amount of X amount of detection going on based on the material that they're made out of. Again, I'm in way over my head in terms of telling you factually. These are the things that I have read. So we got that going on. But my point is, we're looking to the sky each and every day. What
about the ocean? That's supposed to be about the ocean, bro.
The ocean's here. Like you could go and get in the ocean. Right. You can't just like go and, I don't know, maybe you can. You got a fucking rocket out in the backyard that you can just take up and go cruise around in the strata. You can't do that. So it's always struck me that we are so curious about what's going on above us, yet we have quite literally that expansive of a world, of an unexplored world right here on Earth. You can go get in that world. You can go, like, they sell clothes for us to get in that world. They're called bathing suits. They don't sell clothes for us to go into go into outer space. Not you and me.
Why don't you do it then?
What do you mean? I do it.
I mean, how deep? You're not like James Cameron. You haven't gotten deep.
No, you're right. I'm not. And I'm definitely not signing up to jump on a sub for anybody that's got a fucking Xbox controller. I'm not.
There's safer options, I fear.
Yeah, I've just always thought it to be very fascinating that there's a large group of people who have their heads pointed upward and are like, could you imagine? And then there's other people who are like, yeah, I could. And it's like the ocean.
I'm one of those people. I don't give a shit about space. I don't care at all. I want to know what's down in the ocean. I'm the minority that you're talking about, Dallas. Like I'm an ocean guy through and through.
Yeah, that's where all the action is. Like Nautilus. Do you ever geek out and jump on like a Nautilus cam?
No. Tell me more.
You jump on these live cams. Scientists have.
I jump on live cams all the time.
I'm a big live cam guy.
Yeah.
And you can watch these cameras that are like stationed at the bottom of the ocean, and they're just panning. They're just scanning shit. And then, you'll get like a group of them that are watching all at the same time, and they'll find some like little random entity, little random animal, new species that hasn't been seen in like 15 years. And it's great because they're geeking out, but they're like using super technical scientific terms. And they're like, oh yeah, isn't that a little side blast and willy whisper? And you're like, what is that? Is that real? Is that a real name? They know this shit. It's very entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to oceanographers. Those people, we didn't give them enough respect in high school. Take an oceanography class. We were like, man, this is going to be easy. We're just going to learn about sea urchins and shit. No, there's so much going on in the ocean, brother. You wouldn't even begin to understand. Joe, what do you think about the ocean?
Man, it's that's what they say, bro. There's so much more in the ocean we don't know. That it's like more complicated than space.
Yeah.
Trips me out, man. Think about this. If let's say that someone like a dolphin, they were the ones who had thumbs and they live under the ocean. We could be looking at a society, underwater societies that are more advanced than even human on land societies. in an alternate world or universe, we could have skyscrapers and shit underwater, and everything outside of the underwater is the shit that we have no idea about.
Joe, you ever heard of Atlantis?
Yeah.
Okay. So dolphins having thumbs are the only thing that's
the
keeping us
separator.
back.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen all these bullshit movies. Whatever I said, there's probably so many movies about it. It's not that new of a thought.
I've never seen a dolphin with thumbs movie, and I haven't seen a script for that either. But look, if fucking Sharknado is a thing, Dolph Thumgren, I gotta believe that's a thing too.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's keeping us safe right now is the fact that dolphins don't have thumbs. If they ever evolve to the point where they do have thumbs, we're fucked.
Well, think about it. They're the only other mammal that's out there fucking for fun, and they do drugs. Like they seek out
and they
drugs for entertainment. They're like, oh, blowfish. Let me rub that fucker around my nose for a little while, and then I'm gonna get high.
And
like
and they're parts, and they're in the military. They got dolphins in the military. Hamas just caught a Israeli dolphin fucking shooting Hamas divers and shit.
What?
Yeah, man. It's crazy. These dolphins are trained to kill people underwater, and no one really, they don't even tell you about it, but it is true.
Yeah. Wow. It really makes you think. It really makes you think.
Did you hold on? Hamas has a dolphin.
No, Hamas doesn't have dolphins. Israel has them allegedly.
Oh,
Hamas arrested a fucking Israeli dolphin. They say
they arrested him.
They arrested a fucking dolphin. They say was an Israeli spy or a saboteur or something. And they got this device that they put on Twitter that looks like a harness that you put on the back of a dolphin that shoots a CO2 dart out its back. You inject it into a swimmer who's trying to swim and try to do some shit, and it will explode the swimmer underwater.
Oh.
I mean, like it's not a shark with a laser on its head.
But
goddamn, if Dr. Evil was not onto something.
Brother, it's pretty much confirmed, dude. That's the crazy part. And it's like America has the same devices, but we won't admit it. But Soviet Union, they did admit it. They got museums of this shit.
Dude, Hollywood, Joe, Hollywood is like, Hollywood is our government's ability or our government's theater where we sort of reveal the kind of shit we've been up to. And it's like, here, we'll put it in story form, right? Like the sharks with lasers on their heads, and we'll throw a fucking little person in the movie and it'll be great. And no, we're actually doing that. We are. No. Yeah, they're not sharks, they're dolphins, and they're not lasers, they're CO2 darts, but we are controlling animals.
100%. You want to know this should blow your mind? 25% of our nuclear nukes in America are guarded by dolphins. 25% of them.
Hey.
And depending on who you believe.
Where's this data coming from?
Fucking Google it, dude. I don't know. I can get you a link. But listen, this is also a fucking, and depending on who you believe, people will say this, that there was dolphins in Vietnam. That's confirmed. U.S. American Navy dolphins. Now, according to the Navy, they were just fucking sniffing out mines, getting mines or whatever. According to other people in the Navy, whistleblowers, these motherfuckers killed like 50 Viet Cong soldiers, dolphins, 50 bodies.
Like in the water?
In the water, brother. In the water, brother. Viet Cong enemy divers trying to saboteur our fucking submarines and shit. These dolphins were... But that's not confirmed. That's rumors. 50 kills. I don't know how many kills they got in Vietnam. They were there, though.
That's incredible. Yeah, animal. I mean, see what the ocean. This is what the ocean does.
Listen,
just breeding killers.
I've told you from day one. I've been an ocean guy. Like I'm fascinated by it. I think a lot of the space stuff is made up, but the ocean stuff it's real. It's real life.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. Yeah. You ever got space dust on your fingers? No. You ever got sand between your toes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just makes sense.
The Underdog Fantasy app makes sense to me too.
Makes sense for everyone.
I feel like if Underdog could choose to have the app available in space or the ocean, they would probably choose the ocean, right?
Yeah, because there's more users
Exactly.
that would need it on the ocean.
Correct.
I mean, think about if you live in some bullshit state where you can't use Underdog, you could just go to the ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah. And think about if you're a fucking dolphin with thumbs.
Oh my God.
Underdog's the app for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine
Tyreek Hill higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyreek Hill is definitely a dolphin with thumbs. So
He is. He is. But if there were ever a situation where dolphins evolved, hello, Jay. Hey, if there were ever a situation where dolphins evolved to the point where they had thumbs, man, would Underdog see some real spikes in users.
Yes.
Because they love the hires, they love the lowers.
Nothing fishy.
Nothing fishy about it. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, winning up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Make picks on Underdog. It's as straightforward and simple, and signing up is even easier. Just head on over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. I will let you know, Jay Hay, that you have missed zero baseball talk.
Sort of got that sense there at the end.
Yeah. We did. I don't know what just happened there, but your microphone came unplugged.
Yeah, Joe's going with Tyreek Hill. I think I might go Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Favorite dolphin.
Yeah, we opened up with a little alien space ocean dolphins with thumbs talk.
Yeah,
CO2
that's
dolphin.
big. That's
darts.
big in the news. Not as big as it probably should be, though. I feel like still.
You got a favorite dolphin with thumbs?
Favorite dolphin with thumbs. Flipper.
Well,
Did I say Flipper?
Did Flipper have thumbs?
Nobody said Flipper. I don't know that Flipper had thumbs though.
Yeah.
Well, what does a dolphin with thumbs mean?
If
That's
you would figure your fucking technology out, you'd hear the list that we've been laying out.
Right.
Guy.
Yeah. Did any of this? This is going to sound like a stupid question, but was one of the street sharks a dolphin?
Who's a street shark?
No.
It was an animated series in the 90s.
Oh.
You didn't do street sharks, bro? That's like right up your alley.
I mean, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, they were on steroids. That was a problem. That was an absolute problem back in the day. The street sharks.
Well, mid 90s,
Yeah, this was 1994 and 1997. Like this was in the heart of the steroid era. And these were very muscular sharks. Yeah, but they, to my knowledge, I'm not seeing a dolphin as part of the street sharks.
Street sharks.
Not typically known for their ferocity.
Dolphins, dolphins are very.
They can get aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes, they can get
and
aggressive.
you mix in anabolics, and all bets are off.
Yeah. You catch a dolphin just after hitting a puffer fish with a little bit of test running through them and thumbs. That's a problem you don't want on your hands.
And thumbs.
I saw a dolphin execute one of those like push the prey onto the beach moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that this past summer live as it was happening. It was pretty cool.
Well,
orcas are the most incredible animal to watch hunt.
Well, you kind of big leagued me there. I said dolphin. Now you're talking orca. I've never, I
well, no,
I didn't
because
see
dolphins,
a live orca, chase down.
Go to SeaWorld, brother.
Those orcas are sad, I think. I don't know how much chasing down they do.
No, they've been beaten
Maybe
down.
the next fix. Yeah.
Those orcas. Instead of waiting for a fucking sea urchin or a pufferfish to come along, they're waiting for our new trainer, Randy, who's just out of the SeaWorld training school. Looks like Randy's going to need a replacement. Sorry. That's what they're waiting for.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker is what the Cubs were waiting for.
Signed, sealed, delivered, bro.
Yeah.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Did you see my tweet the other day about Kyle Tucker?
What do you got?
What, the 500 million tweet?
Yeah, I said, am I crazy for thinking that if Kyle Tucker has a season similar to his 21 to 23, I'm talking years, not age, 2021 to 2023 seasons, that his number is going to start with a 5?
How old is Kyle Tucker?
He'll be 28.
He'll be 28
for his. I think he will be 28 years old entering his free agency. Yeah, so noticeably older than Soto, but also younger than the typical free agent.
Man,
I don't think you're crazy. I mean, I think if I'm Kyle Tucker's agent, that's absolutely the thought process that I'm using, because like we talked about it on the podcast for a while, the threshold seemed to be like the mid 300s, right? Like that was the top line amount that a baseball player could conceivably get. And Soto and Ohtani have smashed that. And if I'm Kyle Tucker and I'm saying, well, I'm 90% of Juan Soto or 85% of Juan Soto, or however you want to classify it, that math works out to $400 or $550 million. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you may be onto something. I also think that's part of why the Astros got out of the business of finding out what Kyle Tucker's tag was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kyle Tucker represents because we've had conversations about the industry looking for places, I think, contractually that they can sort of reel in the compensation. And I think that's kind of what we saw with the Bellinger situation. Is there's certain dollars that you're after, but I think looking at the board and looking at projections and sort of the consistency that you were banking on, was he going to net that? The answer was no. But Kyle Tucker is a very different animal than Cody Bellinger, and for a lot of different reasons, not only productivity, but age and defensive viability. Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation simply because of how we have seen these contracts skyrocket so quickly, how they have taken off, because it doesn't feel like 3 years ago you were thinking that Kyle Tucker was a $500,000 player. And now here, because think about it, right? We were talking about the expenditure on Marcus Semien and Corey Seager collectively totaling $500 million. Here's your $500 million infield comprised of two very good MVP caliber players. And now we're talking about the services of one player being the price tag of those two. And how long? And it feels like that was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And think Kyle Tucker, go ahead, Joe.
I was just thinking, like, if Aaron Judge just signed for $360 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right now, that feels like nothing, you know?
Peanuts.
That was
Peanuts.
what,
He was
2
also
years,
older.
2 years ago? 30. So, a couple years older than
Tucker.
Tucker.
If he's 30 and what's the AAV for Judge?
40.
35? 40?
But I mean,
that's another $100 million roughly to tack on for those 2 extra years worth of age. Yeah, and the one thing I wonder about Kyle Tucker is how much of the player that you have been excited about right now is going to be the player that you get, because I think there's a big part of the last 3 years, removing 2024 because he was injured. But I think from 21 to 23, is the athleticism something that we're concerned about with the injury, with the leg?
A little bit.
How much stock are we putting into him being able to steal 20 plus bags a year for you? Because the conversation with Mike Trout that I'll always go back to was what you provide offensively just at the plate and what you provide defensively is enough for us to say we don't need you trying to make up 90 feet here, 90 feet there via the stolen base. Reel that in. Is Kyle Tucker the same? Is that a similar situation where you're not looking for Kyle Tucker to steal 30 bags? You would rather say, hey, Tuck, why don't you keep your foot over on first and just give us 10 maybe, so that we have you healthy, so that you can do what you do offensively and you're still the viable option offensively and you're still the option defensively.
But isn't this the basically the quality or the vibe? Couldn't you poke these holes in basically any player that's going to exist that isn't Shohei Ohtani? Like people even tried it with Juan Soto. Like, oh, how's Juan Soto's defense going to age and whatever? Those are fair questions to ask, just like what you're asking about Kyle Tucker is fair. But if the new threshold for payment is what it is, then these questions are the difference between, to Jared's initial question, $450 and $525 million. This isn't whether you want to give this guy that level of contract or not, because it seems like that's just what he's going to start to head towards now. Like, I know Ohtani felt like a one-off in a lot of ways. I think what we're learning is that while his marketability might be a one-off, I don't think that contract is necessarily going to prove to be a one-off, because it took one off season for Juan Soto to come around. And I get all the reasons why his age and production are unprecedented in free agency. But I'm also not saying, and neither is Jared or anybody really, that Kyle Tucker is going to get $700 million. What we're asking is did the price tag for Kyle Tucker go to $500 million? And I think that's a totally reasonable question to ask in what I think is a legitimately new environment for top line players. And do I have some concerns that he's going to steal 20 bags moving forward every year of that deal? I have big concerns that that's not going to happen. I just don't know how much of a factor that is in the overall compensation picture. And like,
that's why I think
back to Corey Seager's free agency, right? Like he got $325 million or whatever it was. We could poke lots of holes in Corey Seager's performance up to that point. That felt like something of an overpay at the time for a team that wanted to spend money. I think what we're going to learn is that, well, we know that Corey Seager's been an MVP candidate since then on a per game basis. But like, I don't know. I'm trying to like Jared's question initially when I saw it on Twitter, I was going to respond. I typed out a response saying, I think you're closer to crazy. What's it been now, 48 hours or 72 hours since you asked the question? I think it's less and less crazy the more I think about it.
Mm.
Yeah, I wonder if I will always be the first one to die on the hill that what Ohtani brings to the table as far as marketability outside of his production on the field is something that will always separate him from
for sure. But
else.
I think that makes it an amazing deal for the Dodgers and not. Yeah.
There's no, again, and that, we don't need to rehash it. That's why the Dodgers are in the spot they're in, because they identified the man with the leverage that nobody else was going to offer them, and they have exercised it beautifully. For Kyle Tucker, we don't know. Let's say they're able to extend. Okay, is this now part of how these teams approach locking guys like this up, where the idea of deferrals, we've gone from nobody doing it to now this could very well be the blueprint to locking up these guys, right? And maybe that's how organizations find their wiggle room, find the way to make peace with a higher AAV, is they say, you know what? We have an opportunity to keep you around here and potentially build around if you're able to meet us halfway in this deferral situation. And if that's the case, we can party. If that's the case, we can cook. We can make some things happen. We can make the commitment to you. If you understand that commitment's being made to you and it's going to come at the back end of the life of this contract, then you're ready to allow us to try to pivot and make some moves to bolster the group around you for your duration here. And I think that is now a conversation that organizations and franchises really need to do their diligence on. If you're talking, that's now something that you have to consider when locking up somebody for these long-term deals. Is this somebody who now just wants the money up front, no deferrals? Or is this somebody that I can talk to about giving me a little breathing room over, let's say it's a 10-year deal. Over the first 5 to 6 years, are you going to give me a little breathing room so that we, the front office, can manage and put people in place around you? Or is this a dollar to dollar, you're Juan Soto and you're cashing out every year at the end of the deal, we're done, there's nothing to be had? I think it would behoove them to start doing that homework.
Joe, what do you give percentage-wise the odds of the Cubs getting Kyle Tucker to pass up free agency? Because, I mean, if you listen to what Jay Hayes' rants have been about the Cubs, it's like, all right, yeah, you're a big market team. You should start acting like it. I don't really, I'm at like 1%. that Kyle Tucker passes up any opportunity to go to free agency to remain with the Cubs. And it's a combination of A, knowing what's out there for Tucker, and B, knowing how the Cubs have behaved financially recently. What percentage are you at, Joseph?
I'm at 1% too. I mean, they're already trying to trade Cody Bellinger. Yeah. I mean, we came on here to a fucking emergency podcast. It's gonna be sick. They got Belly and they got Seiya and they got Tucker now, but not immediately. They're trying to trade Tuck. Like, you know, I think
Belly.
Also, yeah, Belly. And I think Tucker, if he was gonna take an extension, he would have already done it right now. I guarantee. I mean, how many extensions do you think the Astros offered Kyle Tucker throughout the years? Like, they've been trying to extend this guy 4 years.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, during the 2021 World Series, I talked to his financial advisor at a bar, and he said they were almost going to take an extension.
Wow. That is a fucking poll that nobody saw.
Yeah, you bet I didn't have sources, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I met him at the movie
absolutely-
theater before the World Series. Game
qualifies.
4. You know, I don't want to, you know, maybe I shouldn't say these private conversations in a public podcast. So
Maybe
this is
I'm
all
sure his private wealth advisor definitely wants these details out there. Good call.
Solid chance you're going
Yeah.
straight to voicemail from here on out, Joe. Solid chance.
He's not going to be your private wealth advisor.
I have no idea who the fuck this guy was. All I know is that he told me that he knew Kyle Tucker and that he was about to sign an extension with the Astros during the 2021 World Series. I'll never forget that. And it's good that he turned that down because it was way less than whatever he's about to get. But, like, come on, you don't think the Astros have been not trying to extend this guy the whole time he's been on the
No.
Astros?
No.
Why not? It's the obvious extension. That's what they do with all these guys. They try to extend them.
I understand
early.
that, but like, I've been in the weeds a little bit on that, and the answer is no.
But to the Cubs extending him specifically thing, I have no inside sources on the Astros doing it or not, but like, even if the Cubs wanted to go to a number that, like, let's say they were willing to go to a number that began with a 3, okay, that would begin to be approaching double the largest contract in franchise history. And I bet, I don't know what the Astros did or didn't offer. I would bet that if somebody had offered Kyle Tucker $350 or $400 million prior to Juan Soto signing, he would have accepted that offer. I think. Yep. I think we're now in a very awkward spot where his potential earnings are so high and his floor is so high on a contract that even the Cubs getting outside of their comfort zone considerably might not even get him to entertain the offer. So, I think the Cubs made the deal understanding that risk. I think Kyle Tucker, like Juan Soto last year, is good enough as a 1-year impact piece to justify doing that sort of thing without an extension. I know you were kind of I know you were lightly poking fun at the Cody Bellinger. Oh, now they're going to trade him because we were just blowing him for being part of the lineup. I think it is fair that if they trade Cody Bellinger in something that is purely a salary dump, then we can come back on here and criticize them for that. If they trade Cody Bellinger in a way that reallots his salary spot or into multiple other pieces or a piece or two that helps the team in different spots, I think that's totally justifiable because in theory, they have coverage at Cody Bellinger's best spots. Like, they can play. P. Crow Armstrong is and should be the regular center fielder for this team next year. That's center field. They now obviously have the 2 corner outfield spots marked off if they wanted to. They have Michael Busch, Suzuki, first base, DH, etc. So, like, if they want to move Cody Bellinger for a pitcher and a reliever or, you know, another infielder and something else, then I think that's totally fine.
It's all going back to like the possibility of an extension with the Cubs. Like, if Kyle Tucker in free agency makes half of what Juan Soto just got, that's what, $375 million, right?
Yeah.
$375 million. Like, if we were talking about $375 million contract every year in history, we'd be talking about 3 or 4 teams in the league who would be willing to spend that on anyone. It would just take out every team other than like Yankees, Dodgers, Padres, or Mets, like whoever, right? 4 teams are willing to spend that. And that is half of what Juan Soto got. So, I mean,
Joey, that right there, Joe, that right there is why I find this to be a very interesting situation, because of what I alluded to prior to trying to reel in the cost, reel in what these contracts are looking like from a ownership perspective. How do you do that?
To lock out.
You don't lock out. I mean, there's an ugly word that gets thrown around, but this is where baseball fans start to get fired up, and they start to say, look, it's fun to be the underdog, and it's great to battle against the big bad empires that can't afford to make a move. But now we're starting to get into the difference between, like, and just to boil it down on an amateur level, like the difference between playing elite travel ball teams that come from extremely wealthy areas and then playing against the YMCA. So like the kids who showed up today after school and didn't have anything to do, you put them together and showed them how to play baseball. And now they're going to go play a tournament against those elite travel ball teams who train together, eat together, practice together, live. Like, that's going to be the difference between the teams who are willing to spend and everybody else in the league. And that's where baseball fans see these contracts taking the sport. To your point, Joey, if there's going to be 4 to maybe 5 teams who are willing to be those travel ball expenditure teams, then what does it look like? Because everybody that's going to hit the market, we know you can pick these 5 places. That's where they're going to go if they're this good, because nobody. The Cincinnati Reds are not just going to pony up this time because it's Kyle Tucker. You're not going to see the Mariners trip over themselves to get to the point to lock him up. And that right there is where people are going, so how good is it for the sport? It's great for the players, and that's fantastic. But if ultimately the best free agents are hitting the market and there's just 4 or 5 landing spots, and we know that when they're fetching this kind of money, then where are we at? Is it time to step back?
I didn't research this before asking the question. Has there ever been a time in free agency where that basically wasn't the case?
What's that?
Where the truly high end, big time contract people were not essentially functioning within a pool of a half dozen teams. At max?
But this is a little different because, I mean, Juan Soto right now is the top guy, right? And he got $765 million. So I'm just saying, even if you got half of that, so a guy who's like a free agent, but half as good as Juan Soto, that puts him at 375, which we've all been under the assumption that only 4 teams in the league could afford. And that's a guy who's half as good as Juan Soto.
No, I understand the point. And I'm not saying that it isn't becoming more stratified, but I do think, like, there's basically no history in free agency of mid-market teams sustainably jumping into the pot of free agency and being active at the top of the market. Like this, I mean, that doesn't really even happen in the NFL either. So I hate it when people say, oh, this isn't the NFL. Like, the top end quarterbacks are not switching teams to go to the Seattle Seahawks on a random whim generally. So like, it's more common across sports. The NBA, the top free agents typically go to the same half dozen teams over and over again. That happens to be more geographically determined than it is traditionally than it is in baseball. But like, all sports deal with this to some degree. And I'm not saying it's not a problem. As a Cleveland Guardians fan, knowing that every single person who would be worthy of a $200 million contract, fuck 375, a $200 million contract is a total non-starter. And really, if we're being honest, in terms of free agency pursuits, anybody who's worth a $100 million contract is also a non-starter. And maybe internally, anybody who's worth a $100 million contract is also borderline a non-starter, unless you force the hand to degree that Joe Ram did. Like, that is frustrating. And knowing that level of deficit exists every single season is frustrating. Where I get frustrated is when fan frustration for that comes out as a frustration towards the player earning the salary or the level of contract that we're reaching. And I know some of these owners objectively probably cannot make a $750 million contract work. I saw those things about the net worth of like of Castellani or whatever, the Reds owner, who is like, according to the report, like basically less than what Juan Soto just got. So I get it. It's the haves and the have-nots, even among millionaires and billionaires, but Major League Baseball invited this problem in a lot of ways. And I just, the players being villainized for it is not new, but it is frustrating every time.
Well, players are getting villainized for it now, Jay, and I think it's because we are forced now to do what we're doing, and we're having a conversation about the separation of talent and production and the dollars that are attached to those players. So now you start to really hone in on like a type of player, and we're talking about Juan Soto and his earning power, and we're comparing Kyle Tucker and trying to decide what that earning power is going to look like. So you start to focus on the player, and what gets overlooked is, I think, that there is a palpable attempt, a palpable shift to try to reel in contracts and the contract obligations that teams have. But baseball is being presented with a very, very interesting situation here. And it's because of watching teams be okay with the way that the playoff field has opened up. That allows them to get comfortable with not spending, even more so to the degree. And I understand what you're saying is, well, look, if you're a team who's willing to spend, you're in on the top market free agents year in and year out. If you're not willing to spend, you're not in on those guys. Isn't that common sense? For sure. But now that market, I agree with Joe. Like, it's just, dude, these players are very different, and the money is, it's just crazy to think that in 2 years. I mean, what'd Steve Cohen say? He's made how much money since signing Juan Soto? Or no, since COVID, his fucking portfolio, like $4 billion more. Like, Soto's already paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Soto's
stocks go up. Stocks go up.
Like, that's the kind of pool that those guys are playing in. Nobody else is playing in that pool.
Cohen might get murdered by these other owners. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, this guy has to be the most hated fucking guy ever. Like, in terms of owners, all these other teams who now, because he spent $765 million on Soto, now Kyle Tucker's going to go, like, I can't get half of that. You're telling me I'm not half as good as Juan Soto? I deserve $450 million. Like, coming in and blowing your load on that, like blowing that out the water, this is creating.
Well, this is
the
why
amount of tension is going on between these owners who want to fucking kill this guy for doing this.
This is why Mark Cuban, this is why they didn't want to let Mark Cuban in the good old boys club, because they didn't want something like this happening where Mark Cuban was going to go, see how much money I'm making over there? Well, I'll do this right here.
And Cohen objectively dwarfs Cuban wealth-wise too. So it's like, yeah.
So that's the whole point. Is Cohen's like, hold on, what are you guys so worried about? You didn't want to write a like $750 million check to a player? But that sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Done. What's next? Who else will you? Pedro, Alonso, you wanted the polar bear? How long do you want? Fuck. These people, they're so worried about this stuff called money. That's funny. I'm not worried about that. That sucks to be you that you have to worry about that. Steve Cohen doesn't. Steve Cohen doesn't. And to your point now, Joe, he's sort of taking all of the feet of the other owners and putting them towards the fire at the same time, going, hey, sure, you run your team however you want. I'm running my team how I want. And that's weird that the fans really appreciate this, because I want to win just as much as they do. I have the resources to try to put us in a position to do that. So why wouldn't I do that? I own the team. Isn't it incumbent upon me to do that? So he is answering every question that a fan has ever had the way a fan wants it answered.
To the point about like Joey's thing, aren't I worth $375 million? Like, I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we pretended like players weren't hearing about how Shohei Ohtani signed a $700 million contract and it was instantaneously a tremendous value for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I know none of those people are Shohei Ohtani, and I get it, but like, that's why that contract is going to go down as one of the greatest contracts in team history of all time. But that's not the standard for all of these contracts. So like,
no,
like I'm with you. Like I wonder if Cohen is really even holding feet to the fire, so to speak, or if these other owners, a lot of them, are going to respond by basically letting go of the rope and being like, okay, like, there are 3 or 4 teams that are going to be operating at this level, and all of us other ones are going to be like almost embarrassingly skinflint as it relates to spending. Like, I think the lack of activity that we've seen from legitimately, like, so what if the Reds really, I know they shuffled the deck in terms of pitching and hitting, but like, what major impactful free agent signing have the Reds made? What have the Pirates done to supplement the Paul Skeens era? Like, I know we're going to get to that eventually, and we could do a whole troll thing on that. But literally, what have the Pirates done to take the next step and build upon what we saw last season? Not a damn thing. Like,
kick the tires on trading his rotation mate. That's what we've done.
They just traded for Edmanuel Valdez, by the way, who looks a lot like Juan Soto.
Yeah, there we go. That's
mechanically
probably the best that they're going to do. I think the Cardinals are entering an age of austerity that I don't know that relative to league spending we've ever seen from the Cardinals. I think that's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people. Like the Rockies have done nothing. I could go down the line, but I think a lot of these teams are just going to be like, to the point that you guys have basically made, we're playing a different sport. We're operating in a different thing. And if we fucking roll the dice and make it into one of these postseason spots once every 4 or 5 years, like, let's do it. And the Dodgers and the Mets and maybe the Yankees can get in on these, $500 million players.
Like, look, there's nothing to say. And this is the reality of it, is as comfortable as the Texas Rangers may have been or may not have been signing up a $500 million middle infield, Steve Cohen on another planet in another universe can be just as comfortable signing up 2 $500 million players. Why can't he? Why can't he he go, Simeon and Seager up that's so cute. Here, check this out. Look at my Soto and Tucker. Look at those. Isn't that cool? How shiny is that? That's really cool, huh? No, I know you can afford that, but I can and look at it. How cool is that? Our fans like it. I like it. It's great. Like it. God, being rich is so fun. And liking baseball and owning a team. This is so fun, man. What are you guys doing? Oh, no? Okay, nothing. All right.
We're also like one Roki Sasaki signing with the Dodgers away from the entire world being lit on fire too, as it relates to this conversation. Like,
Jay,
you think like animosity and angst is bad right now? Like, think what happens if they don't even have to flex their finances.
Hey, and I've got so many homies out here who are I've got a buddy who has a fucking Sasaki jersey already. Like, he made the Sasaki, it's done, it's printed, he wears it. It's a thing. It's done. And these motherfuckers are so cocky. So cocky. Well, they walk around like they got Uncle Stevie's paycheck or they got Uncle Stevie's wallet because of it. They're almost insufferable at this point, Dodgers fans. And when they land Sasaki, although it's interesting because he talks about, they talk about him not being the big flash guy and blah, 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 blah. Maybe he likes the idea of sort of chilling in the shadows. And, we talked about the soft landing, and I don't know how much I buy that. I don't know how much of that I buy.
What is up with this? Because I saw that report too. His agents like giving out quotes like, I don't know. I kind of see him liking a small market. And it's like, what is the logic between saying that, trying to make it seem like
we didn't do a handshake agreement beforehand. Yeah.
Like,
it's plausible deniability. Oh no, he likes small markets. Why would he agree to go to the Dodgers? Oh, he changed his mind. He really liked the Dodgers. Big fedora guy.
Big fedora. He's a Lucky Strike guy. And there's a Lucky Strike right down the street.
He's going to show up with sunglasses and fedoras. And that's just the culture Mookie's created in LA. It's sad.
When the Dodgers land Sasaki, the baseball world is going to lose their mind.
I will feel virtually nothing when that happens, just because I just accepted that was a thing a long time ago. Like, when that news breaks that he's signed with the Dodgers, it's like, yeah, no shit. It's not going to be like, fuck, God damn it. Why not me? Why not my team? It's going to be like, yeah, duh.
I also think for like the doom and gloom of the Dodgers, the season being over and the Dodgers already being minted as World Series champions. I know the game is becoming more and more Major League Baseball and less AL and NL. But to me, if I'm an AL team, that's just not my fucking problem right now. Like, if I'm a fan of an AL team, not forget the front office, but if I'm a fan of an AL team, like the Dodgers keep getting better, great. If they make the World Series and we make the World Series, that's a problem I'm willing to get down with. Like, we'll figure out how to beat them then. Like, to me, it's doubly frustrating if you're in the NL, because it does seem almost like, or specifically the NL West, because it seems like a barrier to entry in a way that some of these other teams, like, fans of, teams in the AL West or whatever bitching. It's just like, come on, lose me with that.
Jay, ask yourself, like, let's have this conversation right now. Like, as you sit today, you're Buster Posey and the Brain Trust, sitting up there in the Gotham Club going, are we really just a Corbin Burns away from competing for the division? Is that where we're at? Like, we signed Corbin Burns and we're neck and neck with the Dodgers? Is that really so? And we all know that.
There were 18 games separated those two teams in the regular season last year.
That's a tough spot to be, is because people are clamoring for you to get better. Do something. Help us. And it's like, I want to, but I also don't want to just burn dollars. Yeah. So teams now have to pay attention to what is your path, not only in your division, but outside of your division in your league. What is your path? That's where your focus needs to be. And it all goes back to the opening up of the playoff bracket. So with that being said, concerning yourself with somebody on the other side of this right now, that's a fool's errand. So you need to pay attention to how you're going to squeak into the fucking playoffs.
Sorry, we're doing tangent now, but like, with the benefit of hindsight, does anything feel more like a once in a generation missed opportunity than the Arizona Diamondbacks shot at winning the 2023 World Series? Like, you could have just pocketed that one and felt great about it for a long time. And I know the Dodgers have been great, and they were great when the D-backs fucked them up in the playoffs in 2023 and sent Kershaw packing immediately after he threw basically 4 pitches. But like, it's just really hard to see the Diamondbacks finding that pathway again. And that's tough, man. They were right there.
They were right there.
Damn. Think about what the Rockies feel like.
Well, that's an utter hopelessness that I think has probably just like settled into the fabric of the organization at this point. And I think their behavior and their like weird delusional positivity that seems to radiate every season is a function of all of that. Like, I think they are a beaten, dejected, finished franchise. The Diamondbacks were just in the World Series and won 89 games last season, and were I think it was the last day of the season where it was determined they did not make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. So Jay, how far are we removed from them going, but you know what? Maybe we're just a Chris Bryant away.
I mean, but that to me is part of like the delusion that I'm talking about. That's not them actually having been a Chris Bryant away. Like,
no, God, no. But so now this takes me to Joey's point that he was making earlier about the discrepancy in teams who are going to be in on guys. Like, you could, like, in the simulations, out of 50,000 times, you very well might get a fucking, hold on. This one, I'm reading the printout here. It says the Rays have offered 300 and it says the Rockies are in on. What the fuck? I'm not sure either, but it's real. Like, that happens. Like, somebody for the Rockies is just like, fuck it, let's spend some money.
I think the Rockies' moment of realization was when Bryce Harper went on that rant and just absolutely undressed their entire franchise in a fit of rage on the field. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's an interesting conversation to see where contracts go. To Joe's point, there are only so many teams that could do 700. There's only going to be so many teams that can do 500. So eventually, like the teams like the Dodgers and the Mets, eventually the two teams that feel like they have unlimited money will have full rosters. Like they're not going to be able to do this forever.
Okay, yes, for sure. But $500 million players and above don't come every free agency. I know it feels like that right now because we've gotten Ohtani, Soto, and now we're talking about Kyle Tucker. I think that will prove to be a tremendously outlier stretch of guys who reached free agency and were bid upon by teams. Like, I would say there's no precedent in baseball history for 3 players like that, or if we just want to make it Ohtani and Judge right now, reaching free agency in consecutive seasons. Like, I'm trying to think of examples of that, and I don't think those exist. And that's not just the $700 million stuff talking. That is their place within history. And I agree with everything Joe and everybody else said about the number of teams that can afford these type of players. I just think when we look at who is coming down the pipe in free agency and the number of young players, the Bobby Witts, who have signed up long-term already, I think it's going to be more opportunities to make mistakes on people like Chris Bryant than it is make mistakes on people for $500 million.
Yep.
Gunnar Henderson is maybe the guy I would be circling if I was a top line team among a core level player who was not signed up long term. That is that sort of player. Maybe Vlad Jr. is that sort of player, depending on what the 2025 season brings. I don't think it's 500, but I do think he gets into a stratosphere that many teams are not able to play in. I think
he turned down what, 350
according to the report.
Yeah. Do you think the next $700 million player is in baseball right now?
Yes.
Professional at the MLB level.
$700 million quality, or a guy who literally gets $700 million?
Literally gets 700.
No.
Is he in Major League Baseball right now? You know what? I'm going to say that he is not, because I think Gunnar is that guy quality wise, but I think if you're breaking it down percentage wise, I think the math suggests that he's probably more likely to take a pre-free agency massive amount of money than he is to take it all the way to free agency and get $700 million. But I think he's the guy that stands out to me well and above everybody else. Because Skeens is obviously the star wattage, but it's just we've never seen that level of money issued to a pitcher, and to me, it's kind of hard to imagine right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we said that fucking last year, bro. When I saw $700 million for Shohei Ohtani, I was like, no one's gonna touch that for another 20 years, 10 years. Like, there's no way.
But
then next year, the guy does it.
The most amount of money ever given to a pitcher is what, $326 million? Like
Yamamoto.
326, right? Or 325, one of the two.
Cole was what, 326?
Yamamoto got $1 million more, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
I thought it was something like that.
Yamamoto has the highest, yeah.
Yeah.
So to get to $500 million, we're talking about an increase of damn near about $175 million.
Okay, well, look at the difference between Mike Trout, who had the highest position player, compared to Ohtani and Soto. And
for sure. I mean, Trout didn't reach free agency. I understand the point, but yes, but it would take a jump from like what Ohtani and Soto have brought to the position player market for a pitcher to get to $500 million. And the usages with starting pitchers and stuff like that, I don't know. Maybe Skeens is that guy. It's not going to be from Pittsburgh. That's for goddamn sure. And it's not going to be from that team anytime soon. So the Paul Skeens conversation may very well be literally 6 years down the line or 5 years down the line, in which case I have no clue what the level of compensation for the best starting pitcher in the game
Yeah, well, that's looking more and more like that's going to be a package flip.
Yeah, or just a guy who just plows through arbitration, right, and just reestablishes the standard for what arbitration could be.
Well, yeah, and that's why I say,
which Garrett Crochet maybe
after your first or second tour through that, you're going to go, I don't know if we want to spend that money again.
It's a good question though. Like, is that guy currently in baseball? $700 million. I would stick with no, but
yeah, Roman Anthony hasn't got called up yet.
It goes through my head through this entire conversation. In my head, the whole time I'm thinking like this Juan Soto deal and all this thought, this is going to lead to like the biggest labor dispute ever in baseball history. And these owners are going to be on a fucking warpath to make sure salaries go down. And whenever the CBA is up in 2 years, it's going to be a fucking nightmare.
We should have a long list of bridge content to get us through that work stoppage. Ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, Joe, but like neither is Steve Cohen for all the stuff that Dallas was talking about earlier. Like, he has the money and he's a Mets fan. He's doing exactly what any of us would do if we had $20+ billion and owned our favorite baseball team. We would be like, oh, you guys are looking at this as a business, which is fine. This is a part of your portfolio. You are looking at margins. You are looking to increase profits. That's great. I am a Mets fan who has $21 billion. So I am just going to outbid all of you because I can. You guys all have a line that you will not cross. I do not. I want this player. I will stop at nothing to get him. And I don't care if I generate a profit off of my investment. I just want the player, and I can afford the player, so I'm going to get the player. Like, there's nothing wrong with Steve Cohen's mindset on all of this, but you can just hear the kicking and screaming and whining of all the other owners in baseball that are looking at it saying, well, this is unfair. Like, he doesn't have a line. We all have a line. Like, we all have this like gentleman's agreement that, you know, we won't go to certain places and make it unfair for everybody else. And like, we used to be the team that had unlimited money, and now we're not anymore. We don't like that. So that's where we're at.
You rewritten the rule book. Like they wrote the rule book, right? They were like, look, you can only spend this much. And if you spend more than that, well, then you owe us this. And if you spend more than that, well, then you owe us this. So damn it, this is the rules. And this is how you got to play. And he went like this. Sounds great. Here's who do I sign the check to? Oh, hold on a minute. You've gone over the looks. I know. I'm aware of the rules. Who do I sign the check to? Well, hold on. It looks like you've gone over the limit again. I'm aware of that. Who do I write the check to? It's like Barry Bonds. Every year, you're getting a call from the union. Barry, you can't wear your cleats. You can't wear your pants over your spikes. You gotta do. No, I'm going to wear my uniform how I want. Here is the check for all of the penalties that you will be fining me throughout the entire season. Here's that money up front. Just save everybody the time. Leave me alone. That's what Steve Cohen has done. Leave me alone. I'm going to do this how I want. I have the money to do it. And outside of just making foolish moves for no reason, like, I will pay who I need to pay to win a fucking World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are problems with how it works right now. I just also think that we're somewhat prisoners of the moment, and this is all cyclical too. Like, I just go back to where the Yankees level of spending was, in that, I think I brought it up before, in that 05 through 09 era, relative to the number 2 team in the league, or relative to league average, or relative to the bottom 5. And it was more extreme. It was more stratified than it is even currently now. So that's not to say that things couldn't be better, but this has existed in Major League Baseball for damn near the entirety of the sport's history, in terms of free agency, at least. Then, I think it'll survive.
Oh, the sport will survive, but there might be a half a season. That's my fear. I mean, you guys ever read the book, the Lords of the Realms, that fucking book?
Yes.
Like, and like, that's like one of the best books ever. But like, every time an owner comes in and puts his fucking nuts on the table, dude, these owners flip a shit, dude. They go after his ass, and they just try to put all these. Last lockout, we remember this is like 3 years ago. They were talking about all the Cohen tax shit and how all the players were like, this is ridiculous. This is basically a salary cap. We'll never agree to any of this shit. And they did it to stop Cohen, and it didn't work. And people were saying that was ridiculous. So they're going to have to go on some even more restrictive things. What do you think the players are going to say? Hell no. They're going to want a salary cap, blah, 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 blah. But they're going to try to make it even worse than what it was last time.
When you say it like that, and we don't need to go down this rabbit hole, but when you say it like that, it almost makes you wonder if the owners finally figured out a way to allow somebody within their own ranks to behave in a manner that ultimately got them what they wanted.
Ooh.
Fine. You guys don't want to put it in place? No problem. You don't want to vote for it? No problem. Go ahead. Uncle Stevie, come on down. We'll see how this 5-year window goes with Uncle Stevie in the game, doing whatever the fuck he wants, however he wants. We'll see how competitive things are then, and then we'll revisit. Oh, this guy's got a Kyle Tucker, Juan Soto combination out there in the outfield? Oh, now you're ready to revisit how much money we want to let these guys spend? Oh, now a salary cap's attractive to you. Why? Because this guy's shitting all over your rules that you put in place. He doesn't care about them. He's actually able to play outside of the lines that you're trying to put us in. Now you're ready to listen to it? Thought so. Maybe that's where the other owners are at.
I love
saying,
that.
Look,
though.
if we're not, what's that?
I love that though. Like, he is what every sports fan wishes their owner was. Just a filthy rich, diehard fan of the organization. It's like every fan wants their team to be run that way. Like, okay, you're running it like a business. all right, I get it. Sucks, but I get it. Oh, you're running this like a fan who just has $22 billion? Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, that's the fucking dream. Oh, you want Juan Soto? Here he is. Well, you're going to get penalized. Okay. So?
No, that's not a penalty. That's just what I have to pay to do what I want to do. You're calling it a penalty because it would really fuck with you. It doesn't matter to me. Like, it's not a penalty to me. That's just a price I got to pay.
Yeah. Anyways, that story about the Juan Soto press conference and the Yankees, like no one on the Yankees talked to him because he changed his number. Like it's very funny because so there's a storyline going on in WWE where Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns didn't speak to each other since WrestleMania because Solo Sikoa stepped on his phone and crushed his phone. And so his number was out of service. And it's like, okay, like I get it on TV. You're trying to tell me the story. Like, I'll suspend belief to go along with the storyline that they couldn't get in touch with each other. But it's 2024. You could DM on Instagram. You can DM on Twitter. Like, there's plenty of other ways. The fact that the Yankees, like if you're Aaron Judge, the New York Yankees are clearly in contact with Juan Soto because they're negotiating with him. You don't think Aaron Judge could get Juan Soto's new number through the Yankees who are talking to him every day? So the idea that, oh, he changes now, like nothing to see here. You guys are overreacting to Juan Soto not speaking to any of his teammates since the World Series. It's because he changed his number. But then you have fucking the report, Brandon Nimmo was in constant contact with Juan Soto the entire time, recruiting him to the Mets. So Brandon Nimmo got the new number, but Aaron Judge was like, he changed his number. What do you want me to do? It's crazy. Just absolutely baffling to me.
Are you saying that the Yankees players didn't really even want Juan Soto on the team?
I don't know. I'm just saying that like what we're being told is an insult to my intelligence.
Well, to everybody. Nobody. If you are somebody who bought that story, you deserve to have your intelligence insulted. Let's start there.
Yeah, obviously Yankee fans. Yankee fans are like, see? You thought that there was like trouble in paradise between them? He changed his number. What did you want them to do?
Like we live in a day and age where communication via other channels outside of your phone number are probably how you communicate the majority of the time. Your phone is, or like your actual contact number might be one of the last avenues of communication utilized these days. So that's just, yeah, that's hilarious. But I think there is something to be said about the reports and the him and hawing around stuff like this, because I think this lends itself to be discussed. Like, is this part of Juan Soto feeling like I can't be the guy, I can't be the dude in that room because there's somebody else there. I can go and I can be with like-minded individuals. I can be with someone who, I mean, sure, Lindor, superstar, but when I walk in the room, and we talked about this with the contract, the difference between him and Judge walking into the room, like the numbers are what they are. Everybody knows them. We know who's getting more here. That doesn't necessarily mean this is still your clubhouse, Juan Soto, and this isn't your city, Juan Soto. It's Judge's. But now you go over here. Does the relationship, does the existence of Lindor there, does that just feel and taste different for him and allow him the comfort to be the dude?
So this is going to seem like it's coming from a place of bias, and I assure you it's not. This is just a person asking questions because it's an interesting, compelling story. So we have the story that none of the Yankees were able to get in contact with Juan Soto and vice versa. Apparently he didn't try to get in contact with them. But if Juan Soto got a new phone or a new number, it's not like your contacts changed. Like he had all their numbers. Like he could have reached out to them. He didn't. And the Yankees players, his former teammates, they didn't go the extra mile to get in touch with him. They could have sent him a DM on Instagram or whatever, gone through the Yankees. They have the new number, obviously. So that's fishy to me. But then you look at the $760 million offer from the Yankees and the $765 million offer from the Mets. Like, I get that there's an extra year, but like, does that extra year, like you're playing until you're 40 or 41, like, does that really matter? Like, no. So what is it? Something happened. Something went down where he did not like his Yankee experience. Like, let's call it like it
Joe
is.
Outlined it. Talking about, I mean, look at the contract value now. When we find out some of the things that we found out about with the concessions of the contract, right?
Like, it could go up to $800 million, but it's like, okay, fine. 760. Like, what can you do with 800 that you can't do at 760? Like, they're in the same ballpark.
Quality of life.
What do you mean quality of life? He's still going to live in New York.
Not the dollars. This has nothing to do with the dollars. This has everything to do with how Juan Soto's contingency and how the extension of Juan Soto is treated, how they're accommodated, or the lack of accommodation.
The Yankees saying we can't give you a suite for free because we don't give one to Jeter or fucking Aaron Judge. It's like, oh, all right. I mean, like, I don't know. How bad do you want the player where you're like, oh, we didn't do it for Jeets and Judge, so we can't do it for you based on precedent. If that's important to him, then just be like, yeah, sure. Like, I think like the total value is $500,000. So if that was a difference maker, it's like, all right, well, let's just say 760, and then let's call the Mets deal 800 based on like the escalators. 760, 800. You're still in the same ballpark as the Mets offer. You're not demonstrably bigger or greater if you're the Mets offer. 760, 800. Okay, so we move down to the next level of factors here. He clearly, if you watch the full press conference, how many times did Juan Soto say the word family? Like, in all these videos, like, hey, what's your hobbies? I like to hang out with my family. Like, family, very, very important to him. And if that's like, hey, I want a suite for my family so that they can come to all the games, and the Yankees are like, cool, that's going to be $500,000. It's like, all right, well, the Mets are saying I can have it for free. Yeah, well, you can afford it. Like,
and then there's 22 seats in the diamond level section, all for his family as well. So you're now starting, and let's talk about the clothing allowance for his mother. Like, there are so many different things that start to pile up. And just because there might not be an exorbitant dollar amount attached to those are things that are valuable to the player. And if you are not able to see that price tag, if that's lost on you because there's not a dollar sign attached to it, and you can't hear how valuable it is from the player, then you are missing out. Then you have messed that up. And Juan Soto was telling you, the dollars are great. The money's fine. Ultimately, this isn't about the $5 million gap. This isn't about an extra year. If you can put my family on a plane and get them here when I need them to be, great. If you can put them in a suite when they are here, great. And if you can have a place for my other friends and family to sit outside of the suite, great. Those are the things that matter to me, because I want them here with me every day, because I can account for them. That will put me at peace. This is what I'm looking for. So I know it might sound crazy, but the peace of mind that Juan Soto wanted is what Steve Cohen met. And it doesn't have anything to do maybe with the dollars when you think about it. It has everything to do with the willingness to meet a player on a level
98% to do with the
somebody else. No, obviously. But in this conversation here, what was one group willing to do that the other wasn't? And the dollars that are attached to that decision, in my opinion, are negligible when it comes to making sure the player is happy and has the peace of mind that you would want a player to have if you're investing that kind of money into the player.
So speaking of investing that kind of money into the player, I believe in either this article or another one, when they were discussing the clothing allowance and the seating and all of that sort of stuff. Yes, the reported contract offers / ones that he signed may have only been $5 million apart. But my read from that article was that all of these things will be factored into the luxury tax value of the contract. So no, the Mets did not give him a contract whose face value at total was $50 or $75 million more than what the Yankees offered. But I believe, according to that article, these perks could raise the average annual value for the luxury tax purposes to $55 million a year instead of 51, in which case the value of this contract, as the commissioner's office sees it, would be $825 million. Yep. So these things, they might seem like add-ons, and to Steve Cohen, they are, but for the commissioner's office, these things do matter and will be calculated and impact what the actual final reported value of this contract is. So
now, Jay, we get into a position where if I'm Rob Manfred and you're Uncle Stevie, this is how this goes. Ring. Hey, Steve, that's entirely too much fucking money, man. You've spent entirely too much money.
Too late, man. Too late.
Okay, well, we're not going to let you do that. Where do we go? What do we do? What happens? And I think that's what Joey's asking. What happens? What happens now? Like that right there is going to be the defining moment of which direction we're heading when it comes to reeling in contracts, reeling in spending. What's going to be easier to do? Not pay the players or get the owner to not pay the player?
I don't know, man, but I just also thought that it was very interesting. I get that, like, if you're a Yankee fan that's listening and it's like, oh, well, yeah, Carrabis is going to have a field day with this as like a troll story, but it's like, no, as a neutral baseball fan looking at this, you're going to tell me that he didn't communicate with any of his former Yankee teammates this entire time since the World Series because he changed his number, but Brandon Nimmo was able to get the new one.
Can I do a little devil's advocate
Sure.
thing? Because I think what you're suggesting is that there was something bad about his relationship with the Yankees or individuals there, or the Yankees fucked this up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it at least fair to ask the question if his relationship with them was that toxic? If it was, that would make 2 straight franchises for Juan Soto,
Jay.
where the reports are that he was a bad clubhouse or the vibes were off and he was the leading part of that. At what point are we asking the question, well, is this the Yankees or is this Juan Soto, or is it both of these things? And I'm not trying to slander Juan Soto. I didn't really care about the San Diego stuff, but if I feel like if this was anybody else, or if the team wasn't the Yankees, we would be asking, why is Juan Soto leaving bad feelings in every place that he goes?
I'll answer that.
Okay.
Consider the individuals who lead both of those franchises. Manny Machado. He is, for better or for worse, he is that dude in the Padres clubhouse. And I think he has created a culture there where, especially with Tatis, like the older brother, younger brother type relationship that they have. But Tatis is locked in. He's a Padre. I think Machado is more like, all right, yeah, like that's cool that you're here helping us and everything. But like, if you're not like here to be here, then fuck you. And I think, Machado's gotten 2 huge contracts, so he's gotten his bag. And I think that he has respect for people that are out to make as much money. Like, I think he's a players union guy. You're out to make as much money as possible. I respect that. But like, also, you're not one of us. And with Aaron Judge, probably in a less combative, confrontational way, we saw Aaron Judge confront Marcus Stroman, and we had cameras in the dugout where he's like, we don't do that here. I think Aaron Judge has taken it upon himself. He took less money to stay with the Yankees compared to going to the same team. The San Diego Padres, I think, offered more money. The Giants, as we know, were in. He took less money to be a Yankee. Being a Yankee means something to Aaron Judge. Whereas I think it's like some guys in that clubhouse might have looked at Soto and be like, great player, happy to have him here, want him here long term. But if you don't care about putting on the pinstripes, if that doesn't mean something to you, then we're not alike. Like, all of us in here, we care a lot about putting on the pinstripes. If you don't, then that's fine. Go make your money, with the highest bidder.
and those are perfectly reasonable explanations as one-offs explanations for those situations. But
if it happens with the Mets, then we have a
does Juan
different
Soto
problem.
have to accept responsibility? I've never heard anybody take an issue with Aaron Judge's leadership. Manny Machado is his own thing.
But Jay, this is what nobody wanted to hear this when I was saying when they were in San Diego. And it all leads back to you're not the man here. That's what it all leads to, is personality-wise, when Juan Soto walks into the New York Mets clubhouse, and there's been questions around the other guy, who's the leader in that room, in Francisco Lindor. And we're not talking about that right now, but what I am talking about is if that's the scenario that he's walking into out of an established room in San Diego, an established room in New York, and the room that is in New York, in Queens, doesn't have the presence that the other two do.
I don't understand.
Now he rolls into there, and that's it. Like, I don't
understand why is Lindor not given that level then? Like, he's been there longer, as long as Machado's been in San Diego, like similar lengths of time. Like, he was just the emotional catalyst and the best player by far on a team that was arguably the miracle team of the 2024 season. Like, if on paper, it would seem like Juan Soto is set to have a problem with this too. Or if it's just about him being the highest paid player on the team and then everything else falls in line for him, then okay. Like, I don't even really care about this from a judgmental standpoint, but I just think like it's easy to take shots at the Yankees for this. And the sweet thing is a little weird, I think, admittedly, but I do think it's equally fair to ask the question of Juan Soto and the track record that he's developing in clubhouses and as it relates to leadership and relationships that he's leaving behind.
Yeah.
I mean, these are
we did hear from very reliable sources that being the man was important to him. And it was posed as that's very important to him, but we're going to find out how important it is to him. So
like it's straight up, dude. Like when you walk into a room like that, like you're an alpha and you walk into a room full of alphas, you know how that feels. Inherently, you're picking out who fancies themselves as the man, who thinks they got the biggest rack, because we're going to dance in one way or another. And if that just means walking in and the accommodations that are made to me, the power, the presence that I have here, me walking into this room, I am not worried about my presence impacting your presence. You will deal with me being here now. I'm not going to deal with you being here. You're going to figure out how to operate in my orbit, not the other way around. And Juan Soto has that going for him in Queens, where he would not have that in the Bronx, and he was not going to have that in San Diego.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Very interesting storyline. But maybe we'll get that. We'll probably get an expose on that at some point. No? We'll get some sort of reporter being like, anonymous Yankee player said X, Y, and Z. I feel like that story's going to, when that's going to drop right before the Mets come to Yankee Stadium in May. That's when that story's going to drop. Right before.
I mean, we're on track to see a lot of juicy articles the next 15 years being a New York Met and Juan Soto involved. And all this is going on in San Diego, even a little bit in Washington. And yeah, there's going to be some raccoons in the clubhouse.
Some slander abound, Joe.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
Drama. That's what the league wants.
Yeah.
We need it. Come on, baby.
This league, as they say. The Astros have emerged as a possible destination for Nolan Arenado, huh? They have, huh?
The Astros?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Didn't they just get 2 third basemen in one trade?
Well, so yes, I did read after we discussed that when the Astros were looking at trading for Paredes at the trade deadline from Tampa Bay, they were looking at him at least partially as a first baseman. So I think it's possible that they could still view him as a first baseman and then still be interested in Arenado. My issue is more like that versatility is fine. My issue is more like, can we just pay Bregman? Like, it's not just that there's a better third baseman out there on free agency and you are a, major media market team. It's that he's your own guy that you've had in-house and that you've won with. The Astros are behaving more like the Rays of the world than I think it's kind of tacky that they're behaving this way. And Nolan Arenado is not Nolan Arenado of a half decade ago. He is a demonstrably inferior player to Alex Bregman. And the only reason you would trade for him instead of re-signing your own dude is to save
cheaper
money. You will be a worse team with Arenado than you would be with Bregman.
Dallas, you only have a few minutes left here. Is there some story that's been nibbling on your balls a little bit?
No, I thought it was interesting though about the Alec Bohm conversation. We were talking about how the A's were looking to get better after signing Sevy. Are they done? Are they still looking to bolster the rotation in some way? Yes. But also you need bats. And it was funny to hear that it was just an immediate, like, okay, you said Mason Miller, we're done here.
That's insane to think that Alec Bohm could get you a Mason Miller. Crazy. Crazy.
Well, one player plays every day and doesn't have as much control as the other player. But when you're talking about 5 years worth of controllability for Mason Miller, sure, that's attractive. That's sexy. Are you going to be able to utilize him and benefit from the services that he could potentially provide? Or is there a need to try to shore up the lineup offensively? And what you could get from Alec Bohm on a daily basis is that valuable? Is that as valuable?
Am I hearing your a level of interest here? I'm not going
to give you that. No.
You're just saying it's not laughable at face value is what you're saying.
There would absolutely need to be some more ingredients thrown into the recipe before I take a taste, for sure. But yeah, one to one. No, get the fuck right out of my face.
I know it's easy to laugh at because they could do better in a Mason Miller trade package. I also think if you just play this out logically, though, so the Phillies and A's were talking Bohm, okay, and let's say the A's initiated that conversation, right? And so the Phillies are looking like, oh, who are we interested in? Take a sober look at the A's major league roster and come back and tell me who you would trade Alec, even if you're down on Alec Bohm, who you would trade Alec Bohm for that is not Mason Miller. I don't know that player really, I mean, obviously Brent Rooker is, but that's not, and Lawrence Butler, but those guys are kind of off to the side here. There really isn't another answer here, I don't think. And so yes, it's a little funny that they asked for Mason Miller. I also think Alec Bohm plus something for Mason Miller was probably the Phillies' best approach in this conversation, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, and with the acquisition of Jeffrey Springs, that's exciting. It's fun. It'll be interesting. He was able to come back and show that he was healthy, prove that he was healthy at the end of last year. When he's right and he's healthy, there's a lot of upside to be had there. I can appreciate the conversation. Something I know about the front office is they work their ass off. The phones are constantly ringing. They are constantly on the phones. So they're doing their homework. They're doing their diligence, trying to make the team better. Obviously understanding the constraints that they're operating under is tough, is difficult, but it's something that they're doing and I found that oh, okay. They just kind of sent a little message.
You don't have to respond to this, but it's also worth noting that some of this spending is being motivated by trying to avoid a grievance from the player MLBPA over lack of spending for the A's. So it's I know a lot of these people have responded to holy shit, the A's just broke the franchise record with Luis Severino and they took on money and Jeffrey Springs and they're still out there sniffing around. It's they're basically legally obligated to.
I know what we have to do.
Well, I gotta go.
I know what we have before Dallas leaves. We have to determine the draft order.
Yes, sir.
We have to determine the draft order right now for do you want to know the year?
I mean, 96 was a bloodbath. Hopefully you guys bounce back.
The year that we're going to do a redraft for, 1995. I don't know that I want to do back-to-back year. I mean,
Let's respin it.
2016.
There we go. Yeah.
2016 MLB draft, and the
That's
order
probably about
will
as
be.
close as you. Yeah.
The order will be.
Let's go.
Fucking motherfucker,
Let's go.
dude.
What?
Dallas,
first,
Jay,
Jay second.
that's the same fucking order as last time, right?
Joey
Or
got
no?
third. Jared got fourth. Fucking wear it.
I fucking pick last every fucking time.
Oh man,
It's random, dude.
Imagine when the luck starts going your way, though.
Oh man.
That was the Mickey
you-
Moniak draft. Oof,
Yeah,
this
you-
was a fucking ugly ass draft, man.
You play your
Um,
cards right, Jared. You could have a top 4 draft here.
Did you pick first last time or second?
I picked third, bruh.
Dallas picked second last time.
Oh, I picked second behind Jay.
He took Roy Oswald. I took Jimmy Rollins first.
No,
Oh, you took
Jared
Chavez.
took
I'm
Roy
sorry.
Oswald.
And then
I took
you
Chavez.
yeah.
I've picked third twice and fourth twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't get to pick in the first round last draft.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
You took Mark Kotze.
It's a good
really
pick.
disappointed. Really disappointed that the Anna Benson selection did not
didn't hit like
pick
you
up
wanted
more
it to.
traction.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone understood that reference, but
Oh, I'm gonna
Didn't-
crush this draft. This is gonna be
all right,
great.
I got to go.
all right, goodbye,
see you later,
Dallas.
See, they
2016 MLB redraft. Dallas with the first pick in the draft, followed by Jay, Hey, Joey, and then me.
Can you give me
Wow.
the hindsight
Fucking
year two when you get a sec?
bullshit. Yeah, I've got it pulled up right here.
All
You will be doing, Jay, Hey, the 2009 drum roll Cy Young.
All right.
What do we got?
So we've got that is Zach Greinke Cy Young year with the Royals,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to be fun because I think this is right in the wheelhouse of a lot of our listeners and certainly me personally.
Yeah.
Tim Lincecum in the NL.
Oh, okay.
So
Lincecum
Lincecum,
and Greinke.
Lincecum beat out Chris Carpenter, the Cardinals duo that year. Carpenter, Wainwright. Also, Javier Vasquez had a massive year for Joey's Braves. And then the
Who?
AL Greinke. Who? Javier Vasquez? The
Okay.
the old White Sox guy.
The reason
Expos.
why the Red Sox went to the World Series in 2004?
And then Greinke beat out King Felix, Verlander, CC, and Roy Halladay. So in the AL, you've got just like your classic mid O's era pitchers. Like that might be the top 5 right there. Halladay, CC, Verlander, Felix, and Greinke. That'll be a fun one. Anyway, 2009. That sounds great.
Joseph, what's been going on your TikTok there?
Ooh, funny you should ask, bro.
About to drop one right now?
Of course, always are.
Mm-hmm.
I was prepared, dude. I knew what I was going to talk about, but then I had a few. But
Talk about more than one.
let's talk about interesting new rule in Japan. You're allowed to bone your bat again.
I'm sorry?
They just changed the rules. You can bone your bat in Japan,
Thank God.
which has been illegal for 40 years. You weren't
What does that mean?
able to bone your bat.
I think that's illegal in a lot of U.S. states too. Actually,
Yeah.
Some people, it depends on what your method of boning your bat is. Some
Okay.
people use cow bones to bone their bats. Some people, I think what Jay was alluding to was a sexual act that I'm not getting into. That wasn't what I was talking about. All right,
That
we're
is
talking
a
about
heavy accusation.
boning your bats, because boning your bat has always been allowed in MLB. It's basically when you get a hard bone, cow bone, and you rub it against your bat as
Mhm.
hard as possible to make your bat hard. It makes the wood on your bat extremely hard, and you use cow bones to do that. Typically, you bone it, and but in the 80s, Japan, they banned bat boning altogether. You couldn't even get a cow bone near a bat, or you get suspended. However, there's been a massive decrease in offense recently in Japan, 22% decrease in homers last season. Oh my God. The players start saying, why can't we bat bone? We want to bat bone again because they think that if you let us bone our bats, we could hit more home runs. And then the league did some numbers and they realized that actually boning your bat barely does fucking shit to the bat at all. So let's just legalize bat boning. So now you're allowed to bat bone in NPB again. And we're left to see what this does to offense.
That's
we put out a bone your bat shirt ASAP.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, listen, I think this is a method that a lot of people don't know about. And if you're a guy who's playing baseball and you got a wooden bat and you're in a wooden bat league and you haven't boned your bat, you got to check it out and try it because it seems like this shit actually works. And you're allowed to do it. This is legal in MLB. You can get a cow bone and bone your shit whenever you want. I don't know how common it is or if you got to pay someone to do it for you, but yeah, it's a method that I wasn't aware of.
Me neither. Yeah, that's new to me. Was there another one that you had going on TikTok?
Let's see. Not really, dude. I mean, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I guess we did one on robo umps coming to MLB. I mean, this is kind of a topic that has just been like, I feel like we're kind of tired of robo umps because it's been speculated for so long. But you know, they're going to be in spring training next year. We got robo umpies, and it looks like since robo umps are coming to spring training in 2025, that we're looking at 2026, 2027, we can expect robo umps in real games. However, the main thing with robo umps that people don't talk about is that in order for robo umps to be used in actual games, the actual umpires have to agree to it. And it's in their CBA because we're talking CBA offseason talk. We're talking about how the players are going to have some massive lockout because Juan Soto got $765 million. There's actually also an umpire CBA, and them and the league have to agree to the CBA, I guess, every 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. And robots could fuck these umpires over, and they don't want robots. So now there might be an umpire strike. Who knows? At the end of the day, if they want robots in MLB, umpires have to agree to it. And so it's up to them.
You think those things in the sky are robo-umps?
They could be.
MLB's testing with the drones.
Yeah, they could be.
It's MLB, dude.
Yeah, I don't think that it's crazy that the umpires would be in favor of it. I mean, I know it's like, you could look at it as like, oh, like we've been so bad at our jobs that we need to bring in like robots to make it better. Or it's like, yeah, I just want to get the call right, dude.
Yeah, it's interesting because what is like the umpires' beef with robo umps? I never heard of anything that would make it seem like umpires are going to be so against it where that this is actually going to cause a strike and we can't play baseball because there's no umpires.
I think it's just,
there's subtle like things with it that I think some umpires don't like. There's two different systems. One of them, they call every single pitch. The robot calls every single pitch. And one of them, umpires call every single pitch and a player challenges and then it goes to the robot. And that's the system they're going to be using in spring training. And that's probably what they're going to use in when it comes in actual league. Not like every single pitch is called by a robot. Which I think umpires kind of have a problem with because I think a lot of umpires do think that they're actually better than the robot because like the official strike zone that a robot calls is just never really called in MLB. Like if you look at the actual words in the rule book, what the strike zone is, it's never called. It's never called. Like the strike would be up to your tits. Like you see a ball at a player's tits, that's like 5 inches above the zone. Technically in the rule book, a lot of times that would be a strike. And a robo ump might call it, depending on how they set it up. So
there you go. All right. I feel like that's going to do it for today, at least. Before we get out of here, promo code Jared. Sign up on Underdog. Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared, Jared, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. We'll be back on Thursday. With Family Feud. We will have the Cy Young hindsight from 2009 with Justin Havens. We will have the 2016 Major League Baseball redraft featuring Joseph on the road, I'm assuming. What are you doing on Thursday, Joe?
Oh, shit.
What?
I might be on the road.
Where are you going?
I might go skiing.
Oh, shit. Well, that'd be great
But-
to put your picks in on a mountain.
But probably not until later, maybe that day. So I'll probably be home, but at that point, 11
Alright.
o'clock. Fuck yeah, I'll be making videos.
It might even be earlier. It might be 10.
10 o'clock, shit, man.
Shit.
That's where you got me in the prime time. That's my sweet spot. 10 a.m.
Well, now you can't say, now you can't claim that we didn't tell you what year it was. 2016 redraft.
I wouldn't claim that because you told me. Last time you didn't tell me, so that's why I claimed that. That's why I came on and was like, no one. I didn't know we're doing 9096. I didn't even know I was supposed to be on this. I just get a call. Oh fuck, there was a draft today that no one told me about, and that's why it might have seemed like I might have been unprepared.
Right. Like Joe came on the draft. We told him he was on a draft, and he was just like,
I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, that was me. Who was that? I don't know what
that
that
was you. We cut that clip from the last episode that you were on.
Yo, yeah, man. I mean, shit. Sometimes you got to think on your foot. I actually thank you guys keeping me sharp like that.
Yeah.
Putting some curveballs on me, getting me out of my comfort zone. So I do appreciate that.
No problem. You had a good draft.
I did a good job. I think I got second. Didn't I get second place?
What did they do? A vote in the Discord?
I saw.
Yeah,
I
didn't even look to
brother.
see who got second. It was just such a bloodbath for first. I was like, I'm going to stop reading.
I would say the guy who didn't even get a first round pick got fucking snaked by Jared twice, I think, and still
I
gets
think
second
you did
place.
admirable given your situation.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good for some fucking dumb idiot who's so unprepared.
Yeah, it looks like Joey got third, or Joey got second. Yep. 100. I got 123 votes. Joey got 28. Jared got 21 and Dallas got 18. Dallas got last.
Never been one to brag. But check the fucking Fantasy Feud rankings too while you're at it. If we're checking little numbers check those numbers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that update, but I will check those. Discord's usually on top of that. I'm sure once they hear this comment, they'll be right on top of it again. Maybe it was already sent. Maybe I accidentally X'd it out.
Well,
Could be.
my agents are discussing the contract now.
Wow.
As they should.
We got the Family Feud stats. We got the draft performance. We're sending it to Underdog right now.
And
I might opt out. I might
TikTok.
fucking opt out.
You could. You should. Double, triple up. Jake's takes?
Just gotta watch out for those Dolphins, man, because the second they get thumbs, we're absolutely fucked.
That's true. I mean, we laugh now. Don't let them get thumbs. Don't let them get thumbs.
One Dolphin in Japan last year sent 23 different people to the hospital.
The same one?
One fucking Dolphin in Japan.
What was his problem?
Dude, they're probably fucking with it. I don't know. It was horny, probably. Like that's
you were on the Dolphin side in all this.
I mean, listen. I mean, you know how people act in the ocean. They see a dolphin, they want to pet it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a dolphin, you doesn't want to get pet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
Do
true.
you want to get pet?
No.
Someone came into your house, started petting you. Oh, Jared.
Yeah, I'd be pissed.
Sounds super relaxing, actually.
Depends on who's doing the petting.
Yep.
Definitely. does.
Yeah, it depends. All right. Back on Thursday. We'll see you guys then.
We go.